Good morning. Morning, guys. I've been meaning to start this live stream for about 2 minutes, and I've just been sneezing like constantly. Constantly. I'm a sun sneezer, so when I'm outside, just in my courtyard here, then yeah, I start sneezing like crazy. Ooh, the sun's just decided to hide behind a cloud. I can like not, what's the word? I won't use that filter. No filter today. Yeah, so the sun's just been gone and hidden behind a cloud, which is nice. Otherwise, I'm going to be squinting when it comes back. So I just wanted to jump on and share a bit of a story coming up to Christmas, right? We'll call it Christmas story, I guess, right? So I've seen like a post come up recently somewhere, and it was just about basically saying, you know, coming into Christmas if you're a parent, it was just like a suggestion or a request or whatever, just a person's point of view, that if you have children and that kind of stuff, and you know that maybe they know other kids who may not be as well off as your children or whatever it is, they may not be getting as many presents, to maybe look at giving presents from you and rather than giving presents from Santa, right? Because then it gets back to this other kid whose parents may not have as much money, and it kind of makes this kid that's in a worse position financially feel like maybe Santa doesn't love me, or maybe I'm not worthy of it. Why does, this other kid get all these presents from Santa and I don't? And, I thought it was an interesting perspective, and definitely lots of people had different perspectives, and some people got nasty because that's what they do. But it made me think about my own sort of Christmas story and how I grew up, right? So if you don't know much about my history or anything like that, I'm actually Polish. So I moved over to Australia when I was 6. When I was 6, I moved over with my mum and my dad, and my mum's still here. My dad chose to end his life last year. But yeah, so we moved over when I was about 6. And the thing was that, we migrated over. We had to get all set up and everything like that. And we didn't have heaps and heaps from the beginning, right? And so it was kind of one of those things where my parents worked really, really hard. That was kind of one of the things I learned a long time ago, and why why it took me so long to get into this state of abundance that I have now, is because that wasn't how I grew up. I grew up believing that life is quite hard, that you really need to work really hard and basically just give up so many things that you truly want to do and truly love, because you have to be working all the time. My parents often had 2 jobs, working their full-time job as well as like a cleaning job in the evenings and stuff. So that was what I grew up on. I grew up on believing that, you can absolutely have, money and all that kind of thing, but you've just got to work really hard, and you can't always do what you want to do. You just have to basically settle for something else that's going to pay you well, right? And that was part of my journey to get to where I am today, and where I'm still, going and everything like that with my abundance, because that was what was instilled in me, and it was something that I've worked on a lot in terms of spirituality and the physical stuff as well, right? But in terms of this Christmas present thing, this made me think, because, see, when I was young, I do remember I had Christmas presents, and my parents were really good, I guess, at not making me feel like I was going without. Like, I never seemed to really realise what other kids were getting. I don't know why. I don't know if they just kind of kept it kind of hidden from me somehow. I don't know, but I was just never really aware that I wasn't getting as much as the other kids. It wasn't until I was actually much older that I jumped on and I kind of realised, oh, guess what? All these kids had like PlayStations and Game Boys, and they were playing Nintendo and stuff like that, and I'd never played that at all in my entire childhood or teenagehood or anything like that. It wasn't something that I got, even when my parents were making reasonably good money in the further on and stuff like that. It just wasn't one of those things, and it just didn't hit me. But one thing that I feel like is important to be said about Christmas and about other people and how your presence or whatever may impact other people, if this is something that you choose to look at, is a story. It's actually about one of my old friends, that one of my first friend in Australia when we moved here. So when we first moved, when we migrated, we were put in what I believe would have been like a commission housing type of situation, but I'm actually not sure because my parents, again, they never let me feel like we were less than or anything like that. So I believe that's what it was before we started like renting other properties, but I believe it was like that because just based on my memory of who we were with, right? And I remember I made my first friend who was actually living about 2 floors up from me in this house, in this apartment building that we were staying in, and her family had migrated from Russia. And I remember one year, like we became very close, and like my parents became their friends and all that kind of thing. And I remember one year for Christmas, I woke up, I opened all my presents, and I was very young, so it was pretty easy to keep me happy at that stage. It wasn't like, I guess, kids are these days and expecting all the amazing technology that there is, which technology is expensive, right? At the time, I was happy with crayons and pencils and colouring books and stuff like that, so it wasn't hugely expensive. But I woke up and I had all these amazing presents, and I was really, really happy. And I remember my friend came down from upstairs after she'd opened her presents, and it's just kind of like a lot of European, especially Eastern European countries, we don't tend to do much for Christmas Day. It's Christmas Eve, that's the big thing. And so we jumped, and so she came downstairs and she was just glowing. She was so excited by her Christmas present that she'd gotten from her family, and it was a handkerchief. It was a hanky, like her mum or her dad, whoever it was, had literally just knitted her a hanky, and she was so excited by it. And like, even at the time as a kid, at that stage you don't really care. I was excited for her, and then we just sat around and played with my crayons and colouring books and stuff like that, and I guess we didn't really get too phased about it. But it hit me that, when I saw this message that someone had posted about, think about if you're giving your kids all these amazing presents that, maybe say that it's from you, that you're the one that, is working really hard and that's providing for them, rather than making them think that it's all from Santa, and then the kid down the road who doesn't get much thinks that Santa doesn't like them or whatever. And it kind of made me think of that, and I went, you know what? I think it really comes down to the parents. Like, I'm not a parent, so I'm no, expert. And not that anyone is, because everyone's parenting style and everyone's whatever is individual, and everyone's allowed to do whatever the hell they want, and everybody else can butt the fuck out, basically. That's what I believe anyway. But, it just made me think that, it really just comes down to what you tell your kids, what they choose to believe, how you make them feel. Like, I actually remember the first couple of Christmases that we were here, I don't think I got presents from my family, from my mum and dad, or I might have, but it would have been something very small. And I actually remember one year we went to the Smith family, right? And that was somewhere where we got our clothes and everything for quite a few years, because we just couldn't really afford to buy too much. And so we went to the Smith family, where they have this thing where they, every Christmas, people donate, and people, like you say, for example, I bought this present, you wrap it up, and it's for a girl age 7 or a girl age 8 or whatever it is. And so these people have donated these presents, and you come, leading up to Christmas or whatever, and you go in there and you're able, like, they give you a box that your age range and your gender is in, and you pick it out and you take it home. And I remember going there with my mum, and, whatever age I would have been pretty young, like maybe 7 or 8 or something, and picking out my box and picking out my present at the Smith family. And then we went in and got some clothes and things, and then going home and opening this beautiful doll that someone had obviously purchased and donated. And I can't tell you that I actually felt, again, it didn't make me feel less than. I didn't feel like this was anything that, that this is abnormal, that why do other people get amazing presents all the time from their parents, and why am I at the Smith family picking out a donation present? I didn't get that, right? And I just felt amazing, and I just loved it, and I was so grateful. And that's another part of the reason why I absolutely support, like, these are the kind of charities that I support now, because I think it's incredible what they do. But I the end of the day, I really do believe that it comes down to you. It comes down to your choices, like the way that I grew up and the way that I actually chose to perceive everything around me. But also, you know, what you actually get told by your parents, rather than like just the situation that happens to you, which obviously is something I talk about all the time. It's not what happens to you, it's what you decide it means that makes a difference, right? So based on what my parents said and things like that, obviously over the years they definitely set in motion some very lack and scarcity thinking about how easy money is to make or whatever, and that's fine. I had lessons I had to learn through that, and that's why I've grown to where I am now. But in terms of all of that stuff, like it never really made me feel like, you know, why is someone else getting more than me? Especially if, you know, they said that Santa gave you these presents, then it's like, why doesn't Santa like me, but they like this kid down the road who has all this money? And especially I think in this day and age, kids are pretty smart. Like, they know whose parents are rich and whose parents are not. They're not dumb. They're not going to think, oh, like, for the most part, they're not going to think, oh, just because I got just this stuff and the kid down the road that's got the rich parents got more stuff, obviously Santa doesn't like me. I don't think, for the most part, that's a thing. But that's just my thought. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have kids, so I really don't have any idea about the way they think whatsoever. But I'd love to know what you think. If you've watched any of this, please weigh in and let me know what you think of this whole idea of not, of not telling your kids that all the presents are from Santa, but telling them that they're from you, so they actually understand how hard you work for it and stuff. I think it's just an interesting conversation, but and I just wanted to share, I guess, a little bit about me and about how I grew up and how, you know, a lot of the time, and especially I've made a lot of new connections and new friends in the last, few couple of months or whatever, and a lot of them probably just sort of see what I do now and see how I live now and everything like that and think, oh, you know, this is just who she is and who she's always been. And it's not like that. Definitely came from much more humble beginnings and a lot of scarcity and a lot of lack mentality. Even if, you know, I never went hungry. I was never in that situation. I'm not going to talk it up like it was, anything like that. But I definitely grew up with a lot of scarcity mentality about how money can be made, how easy it is, or how hard it is, more to the point, how you can't do what you love and you have to sacrifice and all that kind of stuff. That was very prevalent, and so it's taken a long time to get to the stage where, you know, the abundance and the belief in the infinite abundance of the universe and everything that's provided to me has really settled in, and that's what's helped me to create, you know, everything that I'm creating now with both my coaching business and then the 90% automated business and everything like that, and everything else that I do. Like, it's not been a fast process, and I think that's something that's really important to be honest about, because I think a lot of people aren't honest enough about it, or just think that it doesn't matter to mention that, you know what, I've had to go through stuff as well. Hey, someone just liked something. Say hey, I'd missed who it was because I'm like, the sun's come out now and I'm glaring. But that's something that I've always found is I really dislike people saying, you know, that this is just how it's always, like, just kind of putting on this persona as if this is how it's always been. And even if they don't mean it, it just sits there, and I feel like, no, you know what? It's a hell of a lot more beneficial, and it's what I wished a lot of my mentors growing up had been a little bit more honest and a bit more transparent about their history and about how long it's actually taken them to get somewhere and how much work has gone into it. Obviously, all about soul and all about alignment and all about making that happen from a place of purpose, absolutely. But there is a lot of hard work, and there is a lot of fight, and there is a lot of times when you're going to have so much shit going on that you just have to push against, and not push against, but basically just surrender into and figure your way out of. It's not, you know, like they say, that success thing, the success is not a straight line. It's like that, right? So I think it's important, and this is what I try and do so much, and why I post so much now on my private, like on my personal page, rather than just my business one, because I just feel like if I can make more people aware And if it helps them that, you know what, this isn't just a overnight success, and I'm sure there are people that are overnight successes, and that's great. They can, you know, go teach people how to do that. That's not my experience, and therefore that's not what I, you know, that's not what I can give people my experience and my feedback on, right? So I like to be as open and honest and real as I can, so that what you see is what you get, basically. And if it resonates with you, then that's the kind of people that I have in my life as friends, as clients, as whatever else it is, because I just believe that you need to find the person that you resonate with in life and the people that you resonate with. So that's it. This wasn't, you know, this isn't one of my typical bouncy ones. I will be bouncy later because I am launching my new VIP Dream Life Overhaul coaching offer today, which I'm really, really excited about. But I just wanted to, I don't know, I think I just felt like I needed to get a little bit extra real this morning and talk about this first, and then I'm going to go refresh, drink some water, have a shower, all that kind of stuff, and I'll let you know all about the new coaching offer for next year, because I'm so excited about it. But I do love to just get on and just be real and just say it like it is as well. Look what I've done here. I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see. I've literally been sitting here. This is what I do. I fiddle, and I've literally been just sitting here on the grass, you know, our courtyard, and just like breaking up leaves. I'm really being very, very productive with my time today. Yeah, but that's it. That's all I wanted to say. So if you got any comments, if you've got anything you want to share, any thoughts about what I said about the Christmas stuff, I'd love to know. I always love to know other people's take on these kind of things. So please feel free to pop in a comment. Otherwise, stay tuned for the launch of the VIP Dream Life Overhaul that's coming later today. I can't wait to tell you all about it. And yeah, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys soon. Remember to live life on purpose. Bye.